What's going on, guys? Blazing here. Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're having a wonderful day, and thank you for joining me on another Raid Shadow Legends video. So today I want to talk about the champion empowerment, and this is basically going to be a little snip clip of the podcast we did on Sunday with myself, Gesto, and JStar3. Basically talking about how we go about doing our empowerment, what we prioritize after our faction guardians are full, or do we, forget the faction guardians in some cases and just start empowering champions. So hope you guys enjoy it, and I'll catch you guys at the end of this. We're going to talk about something one of my viewers asked me to cover, which was champion empowerment and champion guardian, right? For the faction guardians. How do you decide what to do? Who do you decide to, if you have a full roster of faction guardians, who do you decide to empower, right? So let's say right here on my Bannerlords, if I pulled an extra, I don't know, whatever champion I have, let's say Marichka, right? Then I'm able to upgrade somebody. Who would you, upgrade, and what your thought process is? I'll throw this to Gestel first.
Well, I've been playing the game for a while, and I have a tremendous amount of extra champions. So except for like the new factions, I'm fairly full up on this. But the way I approach it is honestly, I don't empower anyone unless it's like gonna be someone I'm using and like they're really gonna benefit from it. I have plenty of champs that I could probably +4 that I'm just waiting to see what happens. You never know if that's going to be used as a champ to empower somebody else, and that would be significantly better. There's different scenarios where you just don't know. So for me, I'm like a wait and see guy. I'm just going to see what happens. Now, I was like, if it were if I were to get right now, if I were to get any of my damage dealers in Live Arena, Harima, Rhodos. I've been using Rhonda, so if I got a Cillian, I'm slapping them right in. Like I that's what I'm focused on, as I've said, and I want to build them up as the best I can. I've already got my faction guardians built out on all 3 of those areas. So that actually I don't on Harima. I don't have Shadowkin filled. I have 3 of the 5. But I would probably take Harima +1 over. Another whatever the 5th slot or the 4th slot is, but I don't know. Maybe I could be convinced that I would need the speed if it ends up being the 5th one. But I think in turn, that's how I approach it. Anyone I'm using in Live Arena right now, I'm gonna empower them. Now I have 2 Sifis. I'm not gonna just I probably wouldn't just +1 her. Plus I use them in different areas, and I don't foresee a time where I'm honestly gonna probably get another Sifi. Like, let's be realistic. So I'm just going to hang on to 2 like that. Huh?
You never know.
Well, you never know. And if I were to be able to +2 Sifi, I think that's a lot different because you're getting a lot more bonuses at that second empowerment. But the first empowerment, you're basically just getting a little bit more HP, attack, and defense, whatever it is. So I feel like empowering is something that you should probably hold off on unless it's really a game changer for your account. I think it's better just to kind of wait and see than to just jump in and just start throwing empowerments around on just random champs.
Okay. So you would suggest filling the faction guardians first and then
100%,
empowering
100%.
based on, what area of the game you think you enjoy most, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Fair enough. I can see that. I can agree with that. Jay, what about you?
So I would say 90% of people should make sure they get their faction guardians filled up. It just makes sense. You get speed, you get defense, you get HP. I mean, the Great Hall does that. So if your Great Hall is not great, right, and you're pulling shards, but you can actually supplement your non-full Great Hall yet with the faction guardians. You start plussing, then you're hurting that specific faction, right? Because you're like, oh, I got a +2 Rhodos. Cool, you have a +2 Rhodos now, but you're mid late game, right? Like hypothetically, this scenario, right? Cool, your Rhodos can do more damage, but all your undead could have been, better. They could have had all HP, all defense, more AC, which you don't have a full Great Hall. So this is why I always tell people, when it comes to empowerment, you want to wait for the right moment. You have to know, for instance, I have 3 Cupiduses and 3 Rhodoses, and I still have not empowered any of them. I'm still using them in the faction guardians. I want to, But I just no. Until it's completely done, and I'm like, well, I have so much space now. What do I do? Who do I want to power? That's when you can kind of go, well, I can switch out, these champions in my. And it sounds like a long time for most mid to late game players because you have to pull lots and lots of shards. But this type of area wasn't designed. It was to help everyone to a degree, but it helps the people who had a lot of champions, right? Because people were complaining that they had tons of dupes. So I think you should definitely, fill up your faction guardians. And I know it's going to take probably a year and a half to 2 years, kind of like it almost took me 2 years to do my Great Hall. But if you just put in the time, trust me, you'll see every little thing come at you. But if you do want to I only use Rotos in Arena, so there's no point in me, faction guardian, then fine. Then give yourself a +3, +4 Rotos. If you really you're about that and you only use that champion like 70% of the time because you have other champions to use. But that's the only time I would tell people to empower. I've seen people empower Rosins just because I have a +1 in Rosin. I'm like, why? Are you actually using Rosin? Then why would you just keep them in the faction guardian? Would have been nicer. It's too late now. Got a +1 Zavia. Yeah, I've seen some crazy stuff. So yeah, be careful.
Yeah, so the consensus I'm getting from you is fill up faction guardians first, and then don't worry about empowerment until you really have to.
Yes.
Right? Okay. So I have a different perspective on this, and it really comes from being an endgame player. And yes, you could see that my account has quite a bit of faction guardians filled up, right? I've got at least more than half, right? Filled up. And my thing is filling up, kind of what Gestel was going at, is where you enjoy the game most, right? And if you're enjoying live arena more, and you have the gear, right? If you're an end game player and you have the gear for particular champions, especially if they're going to be your nukers, like example, my Leorius. If I brought him into live arena, he's going to be one of my better nukers. Is it really worth it to, +1 him? Or is it worth it for me to get, if I had the 10% extra attack, to give myself the 30% accuracy? Because accuracy at this point in time isn't really such a great thing in arena, right? So no one really enjoys live arena. There's some people out there, Ace. There's some people, but I feel like a lot of it has to do with the gear and the builds, because the 10%, the only one that I really like is for the speed. I think the accuracy and resistance, quite honestly, should be changed with the defense percentage. That way you're getting the first 3 stats that you really need, that you could use on your nukers, that you could use in game to kind of build everything else. Because the 30 accuracy and the 30 resistance, I feel like we could probably find that out. And by the time you get to this spot where you have 8 legendaries that are dupes, you're not really needing the extra accuracy, right? I don't know. Do you think that we should switch, or Plarium should switch the resistance and defense spots? I'll throw it to Gestel first.
Yeah, I think that kind of makes sense. I'm not really sure why they did it this way. I don't know what the rationale would be, but yeah, I think it would make more sense if the defense was with the other ones. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know why they did it that way. It seems kind of out of order.
What about you, Jay? What do you think?
If we could change it, that would be cool. But am I okay with the way that it is? I think it's perfectly fine. Like I said, most players, let's say you got one faction, right? And one faction, because let's say undead, and you have enough to do almost all the way to the speed. You go only to defense, or right before defense, because we're talking about if we switch them. If I had to choose between 10% defense, which is mitigation, or having more resistance so I don't get debuffed, or more accuracy so I can build other stats like speed, right? I just re-geared my champions. I didn't need to build them for resistance for clan boss, right? So, but I did need the accuracy on some champions, but mostly defense. So if I had to give a toss up, that is like 30 accuracy and 30 resist is a decent chunk. It's like half a 5-star gear versus 10% defense is 1/6, like of a 6-star gear in terms of boots or chest. You have to remember, a lot of people need accuracy and resistance when they're progressing their accounts. These things they're not designed for all endgame players. The endgame player parts is the champions, the meta, things like that. So when they design the game in total, if they put act that far, no one would even push it, because they'd be like, it's only 30 act. But if you get it sooner, you might actually be more tempted. Like you said, instead of plussing your champions, empowering them, you might want to just do the faction guardians. So I think the reason why Plarium did it was so that you don't instantly go crazy and plus everybody, because you might want to fill up your faction guardians first. Because 10% is only 10%. It's not that much, honestly.
Okay. I mean, I think maybe it just, to me, the order doesn't make sense, right? And this is why I feel like it needs to be reworked, because the accuracy, for account levels like ours, isn't really worth it at this point in time. But if they did it early on, where if you're early game and you pull the dupe, Bellinor, or if you're like me and have six, uh, early on, that can help you with your earlier builds, right? And that's, I think, where accuracy should have been placed, or at the end of this, right before. I think speed is fine where it's at. HP and attack and defense should be prioritized over the accuracy, unless, I feel like maybe we should be able to place them where we want them, right? So leave speed as it is, right? Get that extra perk as the last one, but I feel like these should be maneuverable to where we want them. I think that would be a little bit better, in my opinion. But I don't know. Do you guys agree? Do you think we should be able to pick where we, kind of put these in and keep the 10 speed locked at the fifth one? Jay.
So you're asking if we should be able to move what stats per faction?
Basically, yeah, in general. So if you should be able to, if you're early game and you want accuracy, then every faction guardian you have in every faction should give you accuracy at the start. You pick accuracy to go, then HP, then defense, then attack. But then it's across your whole account. It's not per faction.
Right. Oh, that's crazy.
Keeping speed where it is at the fifth one and not being able to move it.
Right. There's a reason why it's done like this. If you look at the way that it's already done, like I said earlier, Plarium already thought this out. You're not going to give people speed right from the beginning. It's going to change. It changes the game. Like, because you're supposed to farm, get gear. If they give you, this is why your Great Hall doesn't give you speed, right? You're supposed to value it. Like, that's why it's hard to get. We get Arbiter. She has that aura speed, right, for Arena, because it's hard to get fast. So they're not going to do that. There's no way. Would I like that? Yes, but then that changes everything, because now late game and end game, someone can super optimize their faction guardians to have things back and forth, and then someone's like, it's too nutty. It needs to be balanced, because everybody has to have like similar things, so we all grow together. Not like, well, this person really optimized their Great Hall and their faction guardians and their area bonuses. Look how fast they progressed. While this other person's like, hey, I'm trying to do the same thing. It's not working because I don't have those dupes. How fair is that? Like, so I don't know. I think the way they have it makes sense. I don't like the attack being so up there. I actually think accuracy resist would have been a little bit closer to the HP. But other than that, I mean, it's balanced. If I had to choose between 10% defense and ac resist, I'm going to go for the ac resist all day. Especially now with Sheep being out there, especially everyone needing 500 accuracy in Iron Twins. You need tons of accuracy for Sand Devil, for Hydra Nightmare. It's a lot. People don't realize how you don't have to sit there and put an accuracy banner. If I can get the right perception set, I can actually go defense on my banner, right? So it's different. So I value accuracy and resist pretty high up there, honestly. This is why I tell people to go from the Great Hall, right to left, right? You go accuracy first, then if you want to, some people go resist, or they go defense or crit damage, depending on where areas you're focusing on. So if you look at there, it's balanced for a reason. I don't like attack there on the second spot. I think it should be moved with defense, or ac and resist should be pushed up, but speed should be perfectly where it's at. I think it's fine. It does not need to be closer up. That's just, no, that'd be annoying, honestly.
No, I agree. Speed should stay where it's at, but I think like there should be some flexibility in these four front ones, depending on, what you want to build with your account. Because again, early game, I feel like the biggest issue you have is trying to meet some of those accuracy and resistance checks. But Gessel, what about you? What do you think?
I don't know. Customizability in games is cool. If they were to give you a little bit more of that, I'd be all for it. Do I think they need to do it? Nah. I mean, I think it's fine the way it is, frankly. But, if they were to do it, I'd be like, yeah, that's a cool another feature they added for sure.
Oh, okay. So overall, I think to anyone out there that's looking to do anything, I definitely say, and I think you guys will agree with this, is fill the faction guardians up first, and then kind of figure out where you enjoy the game afterwards. Don't do what I'm doing and just plus winning because you have them. We're our accounts might be a little bit different because we've been playing so long, but real quick, Joe made a great point here. Should we be able to empower epics? Jay, take this one up.
There's a few champions that are really, really good that people are already using, right? That are epics that can be used in Arena, but I would say only like 2, right? So with empowering them, it's pretty much just gonna help people for Doom Tower, Hydra, maybe like Shogun and Iron Twins. Maybe even for like Hard Dragon, for people who are really free to play or who want to push Hard Fire Knight, empowering them could be really nice. But the reason why they don't want to do it is because you can get dupes easy during a 2x, Sacreds or 2x Ancients. You can start getting +4 champions. It's a lot. If you look at the empowering and see how much stats you get for when you get to 2s and 4s, it's a big chunk. It's a lot. There's a reason why they made area bonuses for a reason, so they can help you. You can do a little bit of live arena and you get more stuff for the areas you need it in. I would like them to do it because I don't think it's going to break the game. But do they need to do it right now? I don't think so. I think what they should do is wait till 2024, see how live arena is going, and then they could actually bring empowering of epics.
Yeah, I think so. Joe actually brings a real good point here. You don't need to empower the epics to like a +4. You can empower the epics to like a +2, and I think that would be sufficient. But Gessel, what about you? What do you think?
I mean, when this first came out, I don't know how like crazy I was like into the game or not, like crazy focused in it. But I kind of thought they were a bit ambiguous. I don't remember if they said specifically only legendaries, because I started hoarding like Madams and like other champs when they first announced this, because I thought we were going to be able to +4 everything or empower everything. So I guess I was honestly a bit surprised when we couldn't originally. Now maybe they did specify it and I just missed it, or I didn't watch a video or something like that. It could certainly be the case. But that's just how I'm remembering it. Should they add it? I guess I feel like I've eaten so many epics at this point, I'd almost be frustrated by it because I wouldn't be able to just empower them. Like, it almost give me another, like, I don't know, another reason to pull them. But the fact of the matter is, like, when you're pulling, I don't know, 200 Ancients during a 2x or something, you're getting a fair amount of epics and maybe you'd be able to fill it up pretty quickly anyway. I don't know. I'm fine with it or without it. Honestly, it'd be cool if they brought it in. I'd be a bit frustrated that it's like just another. It's something that they should have brought in when they did it originally, I guess is my point. Whereas if they were to bring it in now, it'd be frustrating because I'm sure you guys have done the same. But like, you have everything filled with epics. All you do is just start using them as chickens. So, I could have had everyone +4 or +2, whatever they were giving me at this point.
Yeah. I mean, I think I like Joe's idea where it's +2. I think that's going to help them enough to where a lot of free-to-play players or low spend are going to be able to come in and kind of start doing some things in some of the harder difficulties, right? Because why not? You're giving a power creep to the end game whales that are definitely going ham on getting a lot of these champions, but it is kind of setting a divide, right? So I think the overall consensus for that is, yeah, we should definitely do it. Yes, it's a great idea, but can we, cap it at like a +2? I think that's definitely solid. Yeah, but guys, so hopefully, it got to help some of you out there. Let me know down in the comments down below. What do you guys think? Should we be able to empower champions, epic champions? I mean, is it a good idea, bad idea? What would you like to see the empowerment level at? And yeah, as always, guys, much love, much appreciation. Be safe, be well, be good to each other, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.